everybody. I look great, don't I?
Stay hydrated.
This is a hoodoo ball game.
Promise you, I don't like losing.
See Rue the most this season, but here we are.
Totally rock this.
Maybe we should be the ones put up the patch.
All great teams and a swan song for one of the greatest teams of all time.
I am ready for this one last ride. Are you ready, partner?
Yeah, let's do this.
Let's go.
Hey, what the hell are you doing walking around dressed like Star Wars?
It's Comic-Con, you idiot. We're going to the Javits Center.
Well, you're the idiots because you three guys would never be walking together.
Yeah, you're his boss, and you two guys are enemies.
Yeah, bite me, Captain Kirk.
Hey, Mo, come on. No, that's Star Trek.
Yeah, that's two different franchises.
Yeah, sorry, guys. She doesn't know.
Nah, it's okay. I'm sorry you have to deal with that.
All right, let's go.
Oh, hey, come on. It's not worth it, man. It's not worth it. Not worth it.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Fanzone Debate. We're here for a very exciting title match here at Summer Nights. Boom, Summer Nights, boom. If you're watching unedited, they have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. But Summer Nights, boom. Very exciting. We're here for, like I said, the Fanzone Debate title match. Thank you for being here, part of the event. I got Payson and Robert here with me, and we're going to watch a magical event, Kirk versus Nazario. Nazario wasn't even supposed to be in this tournament, but he made it into the tournament, cut his way through, and is here at the title match. And then you got Kirk, the Hall of Famer, one of the best all time to do it. And, it's going to be interesting. They've played before. Kirk won that time, but Nazario's been on a really hot streak. He knocked out Jacoby, which I thought was an absolutely insane match. But Kirk has been playing lights out as well in his title matches so far this year. So really, really exciting stuff. Payson, we'll start with you. Your thoughts on the upcoming match today?
I'm super excited. I feel like I'm not sure if Kirk and Nazario played other than the infamous time with the Making Sweet Love match. But yeah, every time they play, it's always super fun. Yet Nazario knocking out Jacoby was insane. So I'm super excited to see. He's always a calamity whenever he plays because you never know what he's going to do. But Kirk is very tough to get under the skin of, so he's going to have to create more tactics to do that. So I'm very, very excited to see what happens.
Robert, your thoughts on the upcoming match?
I liken this make a sports reference, I guess, considering Nazario wasn't supposed to be here. I guess Bill was like the Carson Wentz, and then he sort of died, but not really died. Let's be clear. He sort of died. And then Nazario came as Nick Foles and took over and could lead onto a magical run, or he could get the shit kicked out of him by, and the analogy holds. I mean, Kirk is like Tom Brady, which he would probably hate to hear, given his allegiances as they match mine. But he's like the Tom Brady of this league.
That's fair. I'm excited. Let's go talk to the players right now. We'll start by talking to Mr. Montenegro, who's brought his manager, Mike Hanley. Guys, go ahead. You got a minute on the clock.
Nick fucking Foles?
He's getting a statue.
I'd rather be Hostetler from the Giants.
Okay, fine.
Cobra Kai.
Yes, Sensei.
Cobra Kai.
Oh.
No mercy.
Cobra Kai.
Strike first, strike hard.
Cobra Kai.
Do I sweep the leg?
Yes. Bite his fucking ear off.
Okay. Nazario, you're playing Kirk again. You have gone into each of these matches seemingly like acting like the underdog, playing very well. You did do that again?
No, I ran out of steam. So
Nazario's a pussy.
This is what remains.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll say goodbye to your manager, Mike, for now, as we bring in your opponent, Mr. Kirk Kowalkowski, coming to you live from the Animal Kingdom. Kirk, welcome.
Yeah.
You're playing Nazario. Does his sweeping the leg scare you?
Yeah, it's summer night, so I'm out enjoying my summer night. And Nazario, I mean, the calls for violence, I think, are unnecessary. But I still think it's going to be a good match. Yeah, Nazario had an impressive run. I know all about not supposing to be there, and then you go on and have a nice run and maybe win a title. I'm familiar with that scenario, so who knows? I know Nazario's the great thing about like the top tier players in this league is that they always keep working to get better, and I see, and Nazario is one of those players, so I'm not even considering anything that happened in our last match. That was a long time ago. He has grown a lot as a player, so this is a whole new ball game, and yeah, I think it's gonna be fun.
All right. I'm excited. Let's get into it. Here's how it's going to work. So there are 5 prep questions because it's a title match from the players. So they gave us categories. We gave them questions. They're going to debate those. Oh my God. They're going to debate those questions before our very souls. They're each going to get a 1-minute opening followed by a 5-minute freeform followed by a 1-minute closing. At the end of the debate, Payson, Robert, and I will write on our boards who we thought won the debate. 2 out of 3 votes wins you a point, and because it's a title match, first person to 4 points will win the match. If we are at a 3-2 coming out of the prep questions, we will go to a speed round with 2 prepared questions should we need them. So, gentlemen, do you have any questions as we kick off this title match here at Summer Nights?
No.
Great. Let's do it. Okay, we are going to kick this off with the first category, which was drafted by Mr. Kowalkowski. In the category of directors, your question is, which film directed by Martin Scorsese has the best performances across the entire cast? Kirk, you drafted this. That means you get to go first. You have 1 minute when you start talking.
I picked The Irishman, and I picked that movie because I think this is Scorsese's rawest movie. And by that, with this film, you don't get a lot of like the flash that you get with, the films he's more known for in the later half of his career. This is one of his most performance-driven movies. And by that, I mean everything you see on screen, the story, the characters all come alive through the performances on screen. You have the 3 leads, Pacino, De Niro, and Pesci, all doing things very differently than they've done before in their careers, which is very impressive this late. You have some great supporting characters like Stephen Graham and Harvey Keitel coming in and playing, doing really great work. And just across the board, top to bottom, I think you have it's full of supporting characters who bring life to the world, make it feel lived in, make it feel real. And I think that's what you need from, everybody's pulling their weight and doing a great job. So I definitely think this is the best cast top to bottom in the Scorsese film.
Okay. Ending about 5 seconds early, we will bring in Mr. Montenegro. Nazario, you have 1 minute when you start talking. But you're muted.
Lame. When you talk about Scorsese films and you talk about cast, you have to go with the classic. You have to go with Goodfellas. The chemistry between the main characters, the main trio of Ray Liotta, Robert De Niro, and Joe Pesci, just drives the entire film with electric tension. They have great supporting performances too by Lorraine Bracco, who gives an emotional turn in a very male-dominated story. You got Paul Sorvino showing up and being the classic mafia boss, and you have even beat roles like Tommy's mother, played by Catherine Scorsese, which is great because not only is she like there because she's Scorsese's mother, because she's also very memorable. Joe Pesci, especially in this movie, is very unhinged and terrifying, and it's a masterclass in unpredictability. So in general, I do believe that this is the best cast as an ensemble performance in a Scorsese film. Many of these performances actually became cultural touchstones, and some scenes are still quoted today.
Okay. All right. The Irishman versus Goodfellas. Gentlemen, you have 5 minutes on the clock when one of you starts talking. I will throw up the 1 minute warning when the time comes. I will also throw up the let your opponent talk. If you're not letting your opponent talk, that makes me sad on the inside. And also, Maggie's gone this week, so that would I don't have time to be sad. I have to be a father. Okay. 5 minute free form when one of you starts talking.
I love Catholic Scorsese, but if the director's mom is like the third or fourth person you mentioned when you're talking about the cast, Pickens might just be a little slim. I want to hit.
But yeah.
I want to hit real quick. You said these are cultural touchstones, and I agree. I think these are iconic scenes, but I think it's because you have so much going on. You have the music, you have the editing by Thelma Schumacher, you have great direction, you have really slick dialogue. It's hard to mess this up. I don't think these performances necessarily stand on their own by the lead characters because they're getting so much help from everything else going on in the movie.
So your point here is that Scorsese became a shittier director in 20 years later, and that's why the original movie is better. Come on, man. Like, the original cast that I'm selecting is better because it is better. Everybody is at the top of the game. And I know it's a great cast because there's like 7 people that are in both movies. You have the same cast, just like older and crappier. The problem with your performance is that he has to do so many gimmicks with the de-aging technology, which is pretty amazing for what it is, but it also cannot really cover the fact that your cast is really old. And when they're trying to play young, it just feels weird, especially with Pacino, with De Niro and with Joe Pesci. In general, the movie is interesting because people want to see what happened to Jimmy Hoffa. But in general, it's not really driven by those performances. That movie is like 4 hours long, man. And you can take many, many bathroom breaks.
Yeah, your movie's long too. I think the gimmicks, the
shorter.
I think the aging, not by much. The aging is a challenge that the actors have to overcome, and I think they did it well because even in those scenes where you notice the technology might be a little flawed, you still get the emotion, the performance coming out of it. As far as your cast goes, you have some decent actors at the top, but once you get down, like I said, past cast with Scorsese, you have a bunch of basically Sopranos extras doing Goomba caricatures, and I can't tell one from another. Where my movie, you have guys playing like Tony Giaccone, Fat Tony Salerno, Frank Sedone, these guys, he's playing mob boss. Bit parts, but they feel real guys.
But yeah, but that's the thing. They are bit parts. Mine is an ensemble cast. It's the story of 3 characters that have to work together to drive the story together. De Niro, Joe Pesci, and Ray Liotta. It's narrated by Ray Liotta, but it's really all their together story, which is what pushes the movie forward. Your movie is totally centered on Frank and doesn't have any room for the ensemble to shine. Like you said yourself, they are bit parts.
3 characters, 3 main characters. Like you said, the story drives your movies. The characters drive mine. Where there's
everybody wants to say what Jimmy Hoffa was buried. That's what drives your story.
There's a reason why your movie, the characters in your movie are so easily parodied. Why you see them show up in Animaniacs, SNL, because those rules are so easy.
That's because they are memorable as shit.
To capture, yeah, they're memorable, but they're so easy to do and so easy to capture. There's not a lot of weight lifting you have to do to imitate those. Where mine are more, yes, they're more subtle. They might not have the flashier lines or the flashier music playing behind them, but I think you get some really subtle characters. You have De Niro playing like a sociopath who is like reflective and knows he should do better, but doesn't know how or doesn't even really want to. You have Pacino completely off script from anything your movie. He's doing what he's done in every movie. My movie, he's doing something completely different, flip the switch. And you have Pesci, or you have Pacino as Hoffa, as this guy who's like, he has like this bravado and like this swagger to him, but also like this naivete and this lack of awareness that is ultimately his downfall. I think his character's performance are so much deeper than what you have in your movie.
The reason why every performance in my movie is later tried to be parody or copy just gives more meaningful to what they are, because they became touchstones in the cinema history. That is why there's nothing more honorable than getting parodied, because that means you matter. Nobody parodies your Netflix documentary for 4 hours about where Jimmy Hoffa is. And the thing is, like I said, they are great actors, but they are not at the top of the game. They were at the top of the game in 1990 when they were in my movie. Joe Pesci can barely breathe. So he barely moves in this movie. He can barely breathe. And Robert De Niro, like I said, trying to pretend he's 30 years younger with the de-aging technology. Have you seen that scene where he tries to kick somebody else? It looks like a fucking 80-year-old man kicking.
You still get the emotion. You still get it. He overcomes that. That's the challenge. He overcomes that
They
performance.
do not. It does not look natural on the screen.
They may not.
Nobody parodies your movie.
They may be younger in your movie, but they're showing more acting chops, more maturity, and more gravitas in my movie than they are in yours.
And you're trying to give Hoffa some balance. Pacino is just being Pacino. He has always been Pacino. And like we will discuss later, he can only be Pacino.
He says so. That is so incorrect. He is playing a very different character than he does here. It's subtle, like I said. It's not as in your face and video, music videos. Goodfellas is, but it's very deep performance.
Don Cucino.
Hey, Dunkachino, strike it from the record. Let's go. Never thought I'd have to say that in my life. Let's go to Nazario for closings. You get 1 minute when you start talking.
Like I said, my movie is an ensemble movie. It has a trio of main characters that push the movie forward. Their story is shared, and they go driving. Everybody remembers Joe Pesci because how great he is. Everybody remembers Ray Liotta. Everybody remembers De Niro. Paul Sorvino being the center and the heart behind them to be the mob boss. Like Lorraine Bracco's as his emotionally disturbed wife. It's all great. His movie, pacing and runtime cause it to feel very drawn out and muted. And like I said, the de-aging technology, more than helping, affects the way the movie portrays, because they are still looking like old men trying to be young, and it gets muddled. Joe Pesci can barely act in this movie because he's so fucking old. And like I said, this story centers heavily on Frank and doesn't have the room like mine for an ensemble to shine. You have Hoffa, and you have Frank, and you have Joe Pesci. But the point is, it is Frank's story. Where Frank goes, the story goes. It doesn't really matter what the other are. What really people want to know about this movie is, hey, what happened to Jimmy Hoffa? This leans towards somber reflection. It's not really dynamic. My movie's bad.
Okay, let's go over to Kirk. Kirk, you have 1 minute when you start talking.
Nazario said his movie's better. He's talking about pace. He's talking about runtime. We are talking about performances. And yeah, his are memorable because they have the help from the editing, the directing, the Rolling Stones music playing in the background, Thelma Schumacher cutting it up at the end and making it all look awesome. So they have a lot of help. And beyond those top 3 or 4 actors, you have a lot of dead weight where everybody picks up the pace and everybody brings something to that movie to make it feel real and lived in. Again, my characters have depth. They have gravitas. They're doing stuff. I don't know. He's talking about with Pesci. Pesci's playing a very subdued, very serious character who's paced out and taking things seriously. So even though they are older, like I said, they are bringing more maturity to these roles they have in the past, where they were like kids playing in music videos before. Now they are doing some serious acting, where all the movie lives and dies by their performances, and it lives very well. It's great. And Stephen Graham, didn't talk about enough of Stephen Graham, how awesome he is this movie. Fantastic, like breakout performance, holding up with the rest of these guys.
Okay, we are going to bring in the judges. All right.
Hey, Tim, while
Yeah.
you're writing. Happy to be here involved with these types of title matches, but I got to tell you, I'm running out of puns.
Thank God.
Keep using the same people. So maybe throw me into other ones so I can start expanding my horizon.
Thank God.
Kirk hates my puns, but I'm going to keep doing them.
All right.
My name, I'm fine with it.
Okay. Good start. I'm going to go with Kirk. I think overall, Kirk did a good job recentering the closing back to the question on performance. I think they both talked about the performances enough to have me for me to understand where this was going, but at the same time, we did spend a lot of time. Like Kirk threw, like Nazario was talking about. Kirk fell into the trap a little bit. He was able to reestablish himself and get back to the performances, but he definitely fell into the trap of like just talking about the movie and stuff. I felt, but I think he did overall give me more on the performances. And he also was able to trap Nazario in and of itself as well by saying stuff about like the spoofing and stuff. And Nazario went on a tangent about that. So I think both did a good job. I think Kirk edged it out though. Robert, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this wasn't a clear advantage winner. It wasn't like a 80-20. I would say it's like a 60-40 with how it went. There were a lot of like, we're going on complete parallels of what we're supposed to be talking about. But there was a few lines that really hit home. That's why I chose Vice Admiral Kirk.
Ooh, nice. That's a good one.
I went with Kirk because the first line about like if Catherine Scorsese's like the fourth person you're mentioning in a cast list, it's probably not a good. Okay, fine, Nazario, but the way he framed it made it seem that way, and that really struck true. And then, yeah, as Tim mentioned in the closing, just kind of reassessing where it is we were supposed to be. I just felt like he was talking more about what the question was involved with, so thus I gave it to Kirk.
Okay, Payson, your thoughts?
Yeah, clean sweep, Kirk. I think kind of what Tim and Robert said. I think Nazario was getting a little unfocused about what the debate was of saying the Irishman has pacing problems, about saying the makeup isn't that great, and I think Kirk did a really good job of recentering everything, of saying, no, my movie does have these great performances. I think Kirk also did a great job of mentioning these little bit parts that the Irishman has, and I was waiting for those from Nazario, but we never really got past Catherine Scorsese. And I really enjoyed that line as well. I will say, Kirk proving tonight that he's not here to pander, because he's debating the cast of The Irishman, and Tim's judging didn't mention Ray Romano once, and I was a little surprised at that. So, yeah,
I was waiting for it myself, but it never came. But okay, all right. We are going to move on to the next question. This was drafted by Nazario in the category of creature features. That's for you, Nazario. Nice. Thank you. Your question is, which Jurassic Park scene has the best dinosaur action? Nazario, you're kicking this off. You got 1 minute when you start talking.
I have to go with the T-Rex breakout from the original Jurassic Park, because that movie is a classic for a reason. The suspense build up with the rumbling water, then you see the missing goat. That is just like teasing a little bit. Then you start to see the shadows of the dinosaur, and it's the first time you're really gonna get an up close look at a huge ass dinosaur. The fact that they use an animatronic T-Rex really adds realism that CGI cannot really fully replicate even 20 years later, 15 years later. There's a real sense of danger for the characters, especially the children who are trapped in the car while they try to figure out how to avoid this T-Rex, and trying to use all the lore that they learn about how maybe he just can see you when you move. You have to try to not make a lot of noise. Steven Spielberg directed this movie masterfully, and he balances fear, awe, and wonder, especially during this scene. It's really defined the standard of how dinosaurs should look in cinema, especially when they eat a guy in the toilet.
Time. All right. We're gonna move over to Kirk. Kirk, you have 1 minute when you start talking.
I went with the final battle from Jurassic World. You'll know it's epic. Owen is finally getting control back of the Raptors. When the Indominus Rex shows up, he turns the Raptors on the Indominus. It's not looking good. It's a one-sided fight. He's beating the heck out of them. Claire gets the idea. We need more help. She runs the paddock. Dramatic door opening. She lights a flare. T-Rex comes out. He charges in, chasing her, and the two of them go at it. And all the meanwhile, the Owen and Claire and the kids are trying to escape the damage and the destruction. It's the T-Rex is down for the count, but just before the Indominus Rex give the killing blow, here comes Blue out of the blue and makes a save, and it's Raptors and it's T-Rex against Indominus. They're fighting. He throws him out against the cage. It looks like Indominus Rex is going to make one more stand, and here comes the Mosasaurus with a big baby face turn, grabs him out into the water, and finishes him off for good. T-Rex and Blue show each other a sign of mutual respect. T-Rex turns around and leaves. It's an awesome moment in Jurassic Park lore and history. It's the old school versus new school, and it's an awesome fight, and it's the best action.
Okay. We are going to bring back in Nazario. You guys have a 5 minute when one of you starts talking.
So your scene is basically a cartoon, because the Raptors talk to the Indominus Rex. They chat for a bit. He convinces, hey, like, you know what? Let's fucking attack the humans. That's gonna be cool. And then getting the Rex. It's just, why is the Rex attacking the Indominus Rex? Like, there's no reason for them to be fighting at all. The scene at all makes no sense. They start jumping. Everybody starts jumping against each other. The CGI is shit. The camera keeps panning back to the human characters who we give no fucks about during this whole mess of a thing. And It's supposed to be the best dino action, and you have the Indominus Rex, which is a thing they made up, basically a fucking monster that they created for the movie, and you're trying to sell that as your best dino.
I'll answer that in a second, but I just want to bring up the fact that in 1 minute talking about your intro to your best dino action scene, you didn't mention one bit of dino action. You talked about the effects.
I mentioned the T-Rex.
You talked. He's there. He exists. But you talked about the humans. You talked about the effects. You didn't talk about the action. The T-Rex in your scene, he does a lot of this. A lot of like
what the
slight
T-Rex
nudging.
does. What the T-Rex does is actual dinosaur behavior. He is smelling something there. He tries to look for it. He starts moving the car with his head. When he sees the light, something calls his attention. And that is realistic animalistic behavior. The whole scene is very tense. And it actually feels very realistic because they actually use a real animatronic T-Rex. The whole thing is way better than anything you're seeing. Your scene is a cartoon, like I said.
If you want realistic animal action, go to the zoo. I want cool dinosaur action. I'm going to watch Jurassic Park. I'm going to watch the T-Rex fight the Indominus. It's going to be awesome. Is it realistic? No, who knows? They're all supposed to have feathers. There's no realism in this. Realism doesn't count. You keep talking about the animatronics. Yeah, the T-Rex looks great in your scene. And when I watch it, when I think about your scene, that's what I think about. I think about the awesome effects, and I think about the human drama that builds out of the T-Rex being there. I think about Ian, Malcolm, and Dr. Grant run out trying to save the kids, them showing their heroics. But I don't think about
following them because Malcolm is a stupid asshole. Yeah, that makes sense. Like, and then when he follows the car, it's a great scene. You can see the T-Rex running at fast speed, like they are.
I'm not saying it's a bad scene. There's just not. There's little to none dinosaur action.
No, there is a specific dino action. But it is more memorable than anything on yours. What I'm saying is, your scene is a cartoon.
Okay, I mean, all Jurassic. You're talking about the logic of my scene. It's Jurassic World trilogy logic. If you're not going to accept that, don't watch that trilogy. It's different from the first one, but it's a lot more fun because you get more action. Like this. They're not worried. They're not worried about realism or about. Let's see. What if a T-Rex came in? How would he act if he was curious? What would he do?
Okay, this is my point.
Hit each other and smash into each other.
So your solution. So your solution to the best dino action is just pick a scene that has a lot of dinosaurs. It's not even the best dino fight that they have in Jurassic Park 3. The fucking, I forgot the name. The one with that looks like a duck fighting with the T-Rex is a better scene when he finally beats the T-Rex. When you pick Jurassic World with the Indoraptor, it has a lot of better scenes interacting with other dinosaurs than this. If you wanted to have a monster brawl, there are like 5 other choices you have done. This is the stupidest one because they are really bad.
You picked a scene with zero action. You have.
I am not saying.
He stands there and
I am not saying those are better scenes than my scene. My scene is the best scene, which is why it's the most memorable one. And yes, they are saying the best dino action. You can focus the way you want. Yours was let's throw 25 fucking dinosaurs and make them act like they are fucking cartoons and let's see what happens. I put more dinosaurs on my scene is better. What I'm saying is that the action in mine is more meaningful. There is action. He eats the guy in the toilet. He is chasing the kids under the car, and he chases the car at the end of the scene.
He barely moves. He maybe takes 1 or 2 steps. Chasing is a stretch.
He chases the car where Malcolm is sitting in the back.
Yeah, that's maybe
follow the car.
3 or 4. That's a different scene. You're like 3 scenes later. But yeah, you're talking about, like I said, yours is a memorable scene because of the dinosaurs there. And then all these things happen, these characters that we care about. Do we care about these characters more than the characters in my scene? Yes. Is your scene more important to the story than my scene? Yes. But my scene has better dinosaur action. There's no question. Your dinosaur
more does not mean better.
Nudges.
More does not mean better.
But it's still better. It's better because it is action.
Not better. This is exactly what I'm trying to say here. What is your scene? Is dinosaurs talking between each other? Apparently, they talk now. The Indominus Rex is talking to the raptors. Then the girl goes and finds the T-Rex, and she's like, "Yeah, come help us!" And the T-Rex just, of course, goes and help her for whatever fucking reason. Then everything becomes a brawl. Half of the action in your scene, they are trying to hide the bad CGI by focusing on the humans running around because the camera keeps panning back to the human.
Your scene has better effects. I'm not going to act it, but mine has better.
And then you have a Mosasaurus, I don't know, like a Deus Ex Machina eating the guy. Fine.
It's not Deus Ex Machina. Here's the thing: in the logic of these movies, the new dinosaurs can't work together as good as the classic dinosaurs. And it sounds ridiculous, but that is the logic of these films, and you just have to roll with it. That's the thematic standing of what that movie.
What is the thematic you're saying? The new dinosaur gets killed by another new dinosaur.
Yeah, they don't work together like the old dinosaur does. That's why the old dinosaurs are superior. That's the logic of it.
All right. We're going to start with Kirk on this closing. Kirk, you have 1 minute when you start talking.
Nazario keeps talking about everything except the action in his scene because it's just really non-existent. The action happens, is surrounded by the action of the humans that are there and what's happening to them because of the dinosaur. The dinosaur does very little. He stands there, he nudges around, he takes a few steps. He does eat the guy, but that's almost an accident. He just kind of bumps into him and eats him in one motion. He gets distracted. He almost runs off just because of one flare. He does very little. He's acting like a realistic animal, which isn't that fun. It isn't that exciting. Mine is over the top. It's crazy. You have T-Rexes and Velociraptors fighting this made-up Indominus Rex monster. Yeah, it's a monster movie. That's what this is. These are all monster movies. They're crazy. And that's what you want. You want that action. You want them slamming into each other. You want the buildings getting destroyed. You want them getting thrown into fire. All that stuff that happens here. And yeah, the logic is wonky in these movies. It's crazy in Jurassic World. The dinosaurs have some kind of communication. They take sides. It's weird, but that's what it is. And that's what makes it so great when you see these really cool battles, all this fun, awesome action and fight scene that Nazario's scene is just completely missing.
Okay. We're going to move over to Nazario. Nazario, you have 1 minute when you start talking.
Apparently, for Kirk, more action just means best action. And like I said, the pacing on this movie is overly fast. The scene feels more like a monster brawl than a dino experience, to be honest. And he admitted that enough to it. It's unrealistic dinosaur behavior that undermines any sense of plausibility. We are trying to believe the things that are happening. When the animals start talking to each other, all suspension of disbelief had to stop. It doesn't like build-up. It doesn't have any sense of discovery. It's not impactful. And the spectacle feels hollow because, one, he has very bad CGI. Two, we don't give a shit about anything that's happening. And about 2 minutes in, everybody's jumping on each other. There are T-Rex on one side, there are raptors in the other side. Like I said, if you want to pick a good monster brawl, then pick a good monster brawl. You could have picked the Spinosaurus versus the T-Rex in Jurassic Park 3. You could have seen the raptors in the long grass in the Lost World. Could have picked even better movie. Like the ending of the fucking Dominion movie, that is the worst one, has 3 big ass dinosaurs fighting, and it's better than this piece of shit.
Okay. Gonna bring in the judges.
Good shit, guys.
Yeah. Agree.
Dominion is the worst one. Interesting.
Yeah, it's the fucking worst.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean,
that's the third one, right? Dominion's the third one.
Yeah.
Dominion is the one that has the people from the first Jurassic Park movie and the Jurassic World movies.
I take Fallen. I think Fallen Kingdom's worse, but that's fair.
They're all pretty bad.
I also.
Well, the Dominion does like Fallen Kingdom has a winking dinosaur, like a fucking Looney Tune cartoon. So yeah,
it also has Buffalo Bill. That helps.
Oh yeah.
All right, Robert looks ready. Payson's writing. So Payson, whenever you're ready, you can kick it off.
Okay. Excellent fight. I'll just say this from the beginning. My vote swayed multiple times during this debate. I think there were a ton of great points. I think if we were arguing the best scene, I think it was already brought up. I think Nazario absolutely has the best scene, but the question is, what has the best dinosaur action? I think Kirk did a really, really good job at coming out of the gate swinging of saying, hey, at the end of the day, is the dinosaur action Nazario's scene, is that really all that great? He's just doing a lot of swaying. But at the end of the day, I do think Nazario did a great job of showing why that is good for what it's saying. Because yeah, that is what you would expect the T-Rex to act with how the film has been built up, with how with how the characters are acting. I think that is what goes into good action. I think Nazario did a lot of threw a lot of stuff at Kirk's scene of, well, it has bad CGI, it's just a cartoon. And Kirk said, yeah, but that's what we want. That is just the most amount of dinosaur action. And I think Nazario did a great job of sort of bring that all home with saying, hey, at the end of the day, we don't want the most dinosaur action, we want the best. And I do think Nazario did sway me back over with his argument.
Okay. I agree with Payson in that my vote was also going back and forth for a lot of this. This was really close to me. I think this is a 49-51 fight. Because it was interesting because I had the same reaction as Kirk when seeing the answers of like, oh, there's not a lot of like thinking of Kirk's scene, which I love, frankly. I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. I love that scene. It is a lot of action. It's a lot of dinosaur action. Nazario's scene, when I looked at it, is like, yeah, it is a lot more subtle. And the way Nazario described it was interesting, of it being like, yeah, it's T-Rex action. It's a believable way. It's not like dino on dino crazy like Kirk's scene, but it's just like a different form. So I thought both presented why their scenes were viable in a really good way. I ultimately also went with Nazario. I thought that his takedowns of Kirk's scene, not necessarily in the it's a monster movie argument. I don't really, why is that a bad thing? Like, I think that's cool. So that didn't really bother me, but the stuff on the CGI and specifically like panning away to the human characters and stuff that we don't care about takes away from the action and the dinosaur action, I thought was actually a cool thing that Nazario brought up. Whereas his scene, yes, it focuses on the humans as well, but it also like you feel the T-Rex action in there. So I thought both did a really good job. It could have gone either way, but I think Nazario etched it out just a little bit on this one. Robert, your thoughts?
When I heard these choices, Kirk had a choice that made my head hurt. When I think about this scene, it hurts me inside for like thinking about how logic of a movie might dictate something. But when Kirk framed how we understand the logic of Jurassic World, which is a flawed logic, but it is a logic nonetheless, he was picking apart stuff about Nazario's. Now, if Payson sort of set this up, if you're talking about like best scenes, like memorable scenes, if you're talking about things that make you think, if a dinosaur was on like Animal Planet and people got caught up in the fray, this is what it would look like. It would go to Nazario. But Kirk kept hitting him with things that made me go, maybe that scene actually is pretty good in terms of what dinosaur action dictates. So I went with the Kirky boys. I went with Kirk because of how much he was sort of battering at Nazario's. And I like Nazario's scene way, way more, but Kirk just framed his argument in a way that spoke to me. So I went with him.
All right. We are tied up 1-1. We're going to get into the next question, which was drafted by Kirk. I'm excited about this one. We're going to actors and actresses. Okay. Which pre-1995 Pacino character is the best? Talking about more of the Cheen. Let's go to Kirk first. Kirk, you have 1 minute when you start talking.
I mean, come on, it's Michael Corleone. Michael Corleone, over the course of two movies, is a classic tragic figure, tragic hero, where he wants something so bad, so good. He wants something good, ultimately good, but he does all these bad things that ultimately destroy him to get that, and he never gets it. And he destroys the thing that he was trying to create, trying to protect in his family. I think these movies are great. He has such a great internal life. These ideas, these different motivations he has. You can watch these movies under different circumstances and kind of think different things about him because the character has so much depth. You see his relationship with his family. You see how long-term over his life, how things change and how different things affect him. And I think he is just the best character overall because he's the best characterization of of anyone in any of these movies because of how deep he goes and that journey you take with him from this young, fresh-faced army veteran, military veteran who's going to go out and change the world and ends up worse than anything that he expected to change before, and just so many great things along that journey I'll talk about in the freeform.
Okay, let's go over to Nazario. Nazario, you have 1 minute when you start talking.
When you think about Al Pacino, you think about that big guy, like the hoo-ha, like the big character. But there's not really ways to get the best out of him without making him way too cartoony. So I think the best representation of what he can do is Big Boy Caprice from Dick Tracy. And I'll tell you why. Because I do believe that this is the kind of character that is based on a comic. So it gives him some leeway to expand on what he can do. It is an enduring character that has been existed since the 30s. And he gives him a completely transformative performance. You really don't see Pacino in the character. He can use his comedic, theatrical talents in a way that few other roles leave him without having seen feeling out of the movie. He stands out visually and vocally in a film full with outlandish villains. He commands every scene with larger-than-life charisma, and he just keeps delivering really, really solid dialogue, even earning an Oscar nomination for this performance because he is the best version of he can be of this character.
Not gonna lie, I forgot you picked that. All right, so we're gonna go 5 minutes when one of you starts talking.
Nazario, you called my dinosaur scene a cartoon, and then you pick an actual cartoon character as your best
comic book character.
He's a cartoon. I mean, and you're also touting up this is the best he can be. You're picking the best of the worst part of Pacino's career, like all his worst impulses built into this. And we're talking about performance. We're getting off topic here because you're talking about performance. You're talking about the 100 points of makeup and the performance. We're talking about the character and who the character is. Character is one-dimensional, flat, one motivation.
Hell
There's
no.
nothing to him. He has no internal life.
Hell no. He's a great character, and he's a smart one too, because he is in a world filled with great villains. Because everybody in that movie is great. Mumbles, Flat Top, Prune Face. Big Boy Caprice is the one who figures out, hey, you know what? If I just take out my competition, I can take control of the city. And he also realizes that it's not in his convenience to kill Dick Tracy. So he tries to bribe him and take control of him that way. He figures out how big Dick Tracy is the one that is getting to him because he figures out they have a bug in the office. So he lays a trap for him. This is the thing. It's just kind of like Jack Nicholson and Batman. Like, it's a character performance that goes beyond what you think it can be because it's based on a comic strip. And it also uses a lot of what his talent is. He's a big, boisterous, big guy. And he embodies this character perfectly. Like I said, he even gets nominated for awards.
You explain the plot of the movie, and somehow because the
I'm
plot
saying performance, but whatever.
You also described half the plot of the movie because that effect makes this a better character. You're talking about, like I said, the performance. The performance is not the character. The character is big and it's funny.
I literally said why the character is great. I literally said that how he figures out
about the performance is great, and it's the plot of the movie. That's what you talked about. Your character has no depth.
What else is there?
He's one dimensional. There's personality, there's history, there's story, there's things about there's motivation, there's conflict. He has none of these things. Michael Corleone from the beginning.
He's the fucking villain.
You see him as exactly. He's a cartoon villain. He's a cartoon character.
He's a flat performance.
Okay, let me talk. He's not a flat performance. He starts out as this young kid who has dreams. Stop it. You're not going to win this by interrupting. Stop. He's a young character with dreams of doing better than his family, and this is what I'm going to do. And he goes and he realizes that the only way he can overcome that is by becoming part of it. But he's going to beat it. And then he goes to Sicily and he marries this woman. He realizes, oh my God, this woman, I can't do this. So he changes and he becomes like this more hard, stone cold guy. And he progresses. And you see that throughout it. You see the relationships he has with his family and how it affects him. There's nothing with that with Big Boy. You have no inner life. You have no conflict. You have nothing that makes him other than the cartoon villain. I'm a bad guy. I hurt people. I kill people. I take what I want. I want to take out Dick Tracy. That's it. And that's all he's supposed to be. That's fine. That's what that character is. He's a one-dimensional comic book movie villain. And that's fine. It's entertaining for what he is. But it's not. When you're talking about best character, you got to talk about characterization. He has none of it.
Your character is so stoic that his performance is really emotionally flat. He rarely shows any vulnerability. It's really less engaging, man. The performance is praised because it was one of the first times that somebody had an arc But the point is that after the first movie, he just became so fucking stoic that he barely emotes. There's like 3 scenes where you can point him out emoting when he has to say that Fredo, you betrayed me. The thing is this, like that arc has been done a lot of times, and it has done equally or even better than what Michael Corleone's character is. Like what I'm saying is that you take a character like Pacino, who has the voiceless performance, and you're trying to make the best thing you can get out of him. Because we're talking about Pacino. He's the center of this question. The best character he can portray is not the guy who cannot speak. He's the guy who just is silent and stoic. Like what I'm saying, in my character, he's taking Pacino's talent and expanding on it. The one time that Michael Corleone goes loud, like, yeah, every time I try to get out, they pull me back in, is one of the most things that throw him out of what he has been doing for 3 fucking movies.
That movie's not eligible for this argument. Did I misread the question?
How? Do you get to choose that now?
Yeah, because it's not 70s. The category is 70s Pacino.
395.
Yeah, that's the performance is. You're right. I'm sorry. That is involved. But still, the performance is. Did I misread this question? Is it performance? Because you're just talking about performance. You're not talking about the character. And again, you're talking about all the worst. These are the parts. These are the aspects of Pacino's later career that people mock and make fun out of, and the reason why he has lost so much prestige over the years, cause of roles like this, because it's just one note, just loud and boisterous. And if you wanted loud and boisterous, you could have picked Heat, you could have picked Devil's Advocate, you could have picked an actual character who is loud and does things. But this character is just nothing. He's just one note. He does. Tell me what else he does besides villain. In your closing.
All right, we're gonna go to Nazario's closing. You have 1 minute when you start talking.
We start with the fact that he's the villain, so he tries to do the best we can do with being the villain. Like I said, the character is enduring. He has existed for almost 100 years now, and is one of Dick Tracy's biggest enemies. And yes, he does things in this movie. He develops his thing because he figures out how he can take control of the city. When he takes control of the city, everybody's like, you have to kill Dick Tracy. You have to kill Dick Tracy. And he's too smart for that. He figures out, hey, you know what? Maybe the move here is to take Dick Tracy and turn him into one of us. And when he realizes that he cannot do that, then he analyzes the options, and he figures out that the one trying to sell him on the best choice is trying to frame him so he can take him out of the picture that way, and he can still take control of the city. He keeps making the smart choices, which makes him a great character. He is a villain. A villain is a definition of what his character is. Yes, but he could have been a one-note villain, a cartoon villain, and he's not. He's a smart one. He keeps making different, better choices as long as the movie goes. And the only way he loses in the end is because he gets betrayed. Great character.
Great pretzels. Okay. We're gonna go over to Kirk. Kirk, 1 minute when you start talking.
Nazario gave us a lot. He gave us a little history of the character. Again, he explained more of the plot of the movie and how the character actions progress the plot, but he didn't tell me anything about the character and what he does besides villain. He said himself, he's the villain. You're also the villain, Michael Corleone and Godfather too, but there's depth there. And there's conflict, when he kills Fredo, you see him, mulling over that, and you see the betrayal and all these things. You don't get that with Big Boy. I mean, like I said, he's fun. He is a villain. He's a cartoon comic book movie villain, and that's fine. It doesn't matter how long he's been around. He is that. But that's all he is. He's mean, he kills, he takes what he wants, and that's it. There's no depth to him. With Michael Corleone, you have inner conflict, you have turmoil, you have choices and decisions he has to make that changes his life one way or the other. And you understand the motivations and why he does that from the history of his family and the relationships he has. You don't get that from Big Boy. Yes, he's great in Dick Tracy. It's a great plot. It's a great story. But he is just a one-note comic book villain in the story.
Okay. Judges. Oh, you know what? Fuck it. Let's bring in Nazario's manager on this one.
Hell yeah.
Nazario's a pussy.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. We're going to say goodbye to Nazario's manager.
Tim, I didn't remember the picks. I think I looked at them once when I was added into the chat. I'm so happy I didn't remember because it was genuinely a jump scare when one of these.
Yeah, I watched you backstage. It was quite humorous to me. Okay. Payson, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, Robert, kick us off.
Yeah, this is like not knowing things ahead of time is great because you get blindsided by what choices are. And boy, was I blindsided. Obviously not by Kirk, by Nazario, but that's what's to be expected because that's Nazario's whole MO. Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a clear answer to this on paper, and Kirk did a good job of explaining the progression of character of Michael Corleone. Nazario countered that as well as he could with regards to what makes Big Boy Caprice interesting as a villain in the Dick Tracy universe. However, I didn't feel like it made it that interesting with regards to who's the best character. Do you remember in Step Brothers when they would talk about the Catalina wine mixer and they would say, are you saying Pow? Well, are you saying Kowalkowski? Because I went with Kirk. Because I just, it's
that was
good.
One.
Did you like that one? I was thinking about that one. Yeah. I just feel like Kirk was able to tear down Nazario's concept of talking about Big Boy Caprice with regards to like what's happening in the movie as opposed to what's happening with regards to his character beyond just being a foil for Dick Tracy. Whereas Michael Corleone, we talked about relationships and family and how his motivations change. And Nazario really just talked about him being kind of flat. And that's kind of the only argument. So I went with Kirk.
All right, Payson.
Yeah, when I was backstage and when I heard the question, I literally said to my head, man, someone should pick Big Boy Caprice, you coward. And then I heard Big Boy Caprice and I was like, oh shit. Nazario highlighted that Big Boy Caprice is a very fun character. At the same time, sometimes the obvious answer is the right answer, and I did go with Kirk. I think Kirk did a really good job at shutting down Nazario's attempts at arguments of saying Michael Corleone was a flat character, and I think Kirk said, hey, he has range, he has depth. I will say, watching this argument, it was kind of like watching someone grind the rails in Tony Hawk Pro Skater, where Kirk was doing really, really good, and he started to sway a little when Nazario brought up Godfather Part 3, and I was like, oh, is he gonna crash? He's gonna crash, but then Kirk brought it back and Nazario really didn't nail down on Godfather Part 3 as much as I thought he was going to. And so yeah, valiant effort, Nazario, but yeah, Kirk wins it.
Okay. Yeah, I also would have gone with Kirk. I think that I've talked about this a lot where I think the fuck it, let's have fun picks can work. They've happened many times and have been able to pull it off by people like Nazario, who are exceptional at taking a off-kilter pick and making it work. I just don't think it was this time. I think if Nazario had gone for a Dog Day Afternoon or a Serpico or something like that, we could have had a much more interesting fight, because I think Nazario did a good job talking about the character and why on paper it could be interesting, but Kirk was just able to be like, nah, man, like one-dimensional, very crappy character. And I think though performance didn't factor in, Nazario did spend quite a bit of time on that, and even that Kirk was able to bring down by being like, these are the worst of the Pacino tendencies, and he's doing them here.
He got an Oscar nomination.
Movie's shit, man. I'm sorry, but
oh, fuck you! I watched it today. I gave it 5 stars.
Oh, terrible movie. I'm not a fan.
I have a lot of fun with that movie. I'll be honest.
Not a fan. But that being said, gave Kirk the point. I think Nazario did a good job. Just it didn't work out this time. So that means Kirk is up 2-1 as we get into the next question, which was drafted by Nazario in the category of animation. Your question is, which stop-motion animated film has the most interesting world? All right, Nazario, you're kicking this off. You have 1 minute when you start talking.
I do believe that Fantastic Mr. Fox is one of the best worlds I've seen in worlds of stop animation. it blends kind of a retro Americana whimsy with the woods and give it a very unique tone. Every frame is really loaded with details. You can see like they are all stop animations, so they're handmade, but this one you can feel handcrafted details that reveal a lot of personality in the storytelling. The characters interact with their environments in clever and hilarious ways, and Wes Anderson's symmetrical layer designs always invite multiple viewing for real little things coming out in the borders. The world building is really good, and you actually want to keep going with. Like, they show you first the woods, and they show you the farms, and you think that's it, and then you start going in deeper. Like when they have to do the tunnels, when they have to find new ways to escape, when they find the sewers, and every new environment that they discover in these worlds is just as filled with details and beautiful things to watch as it expands the story.
Okay. We're going to move over to Kirk. Kirk, you have 1 minute when you start talking.
I think when you talk about what is the most interesting world in a movie, you got to look at the world and say, okay, what would be interesting even if the plot of the movie wasn't happening, just on a normal everyday moment, what would be interesting? And I went with The Nightmare Before Christmas. Obviously, take place in a world within worlds where there's multiple holiday worlds. Each holiday has its own town, its own little like pocket dimension where the culture is built completely around that holiday. I just think it's so fascinating just to go and explore the different ideas they have, the culturally what's different, because it's just based on this holiday. Most of the time is spent in Halloween Town. It's really cool. There's just all these different creatures and magic and all these different interesting things to look at and see, and would be to interact with if you were there. And then you have Christmas Town, which is all about Christmas, and you get little hints of these other holiday worlds, which would be just the idea of exploring those someday would be neat. And then we get the real world, and it's a real world where Santa Claus exists, so that's be also interesting to see how that would affect people in real life. So that's the best one.
All right,
I gotta take a real quick timeout. I'll be right back. Okay,
sounds good. All right, we're back. Let's go. 5-minute freeform when one of you starts.
So the problem with Nightmare Before Christmas is that you saw what it's there to give you, like the Christmas, because you have the elves, you have Santa, you have the thing. It's an interesting world. Yeah, they do that all year, 365 fucking days. And you have Halloween Town with the monsters. Cool. What else is there? Like you cannot expand on this world into any interesting ways, because when you see the trees and you see what the doors are, you have Thanksgiving. What are you gonna do for 365 days over Thanksgiving? Eat fucking turkey?
Let's find out.
You have you have the fucking 4-leaf clover. Okay, so that's St. Patrick's Day. It's a world where everybody gets drunk. That is interesting. I'm not sure what you are trying to find out here. They already show you what they have.
No, I mean, everything you have, leprechauns. I mean, obviously, any world that's based, it's just a different universe with different kinds of creatures, different kind of magic. I want to see what each one of those are. I think, again, like the two main ones that you see in general are enough to explore and have fun with. But I think there's more there to think about and expand on. Like let's see what a magic Thanksgiving world is. Yeah, I want to see that. I want to see turkeys walking around doing cool stuff. I want to see leprechauns, whatever. Yeah, your movie, like the whole point of your world, you're talking about how it's interesting to look at, but the world itself, the whole point of it is that it's mundane. They go to school, they shop, they have meetings with their lawyers, they go to work, and it's just anthropomorphic animals living in basically a regular human world, and there's really not that much exciting about it.
That is kind of the magic of what it is, though, because you see the whole little details and the weird little adaptations they do to things that they may look normal to us, but they're not really normal to us. Like, that is the thing you can expand on with my world. Like, you have a world that shows you the woods, shows you a tree. When you go inside the tree, it's like a fucking mansion of a tree. It's insane how little details keep pooping out of every corner. And you see the whole tunnels that they go and etc. What can you do in this world? You can go anywhere else. How is life in the ocean? How is the ocean below in a world like this? Like things that you would feel are regular, like let's go to a volcano. Let's go to see a snowy mountain. The way that this turns around.
So you're saying
Let me finish. Let me finish. The way you turn out regular things from everyday life through the lens of wild animals trying to be civilized, on the focus of a Wes Anderson camera showing you handmade little whimsy ass details. That's what makes it interesting.
I think it's a little bit of a stretch to say literally anything on Earth can be my world. I think
hell yeah.
Your world.
That is where a movie set.
the world of your movie is set in the Fantastic Mr. Fox neighborhood, and then the farms up above. That's the world of your movie. Let's be real, Nazario. My movie has literal other worlds to explore that are presented in the movie, and you know they are there. And if you, so you have that in your movie, which your movie doesn't have. Your movie has people going to work, doing their jobs. The whole thing is Mr. Fox is bored being a paper writer or whatever, and he wants to go do something else. And the interesting thing in your movie is the story. It's not the world. And I don't want to see a sequel to Fantastic Mr. Fox just because, there's quirky little things in the background. If I want to see a sequel to that movie, it's because of the characters. If I want to see a sequel to Nightmare Before Christmas, it's because I want to explore that world more.
That's the reason they have never been able to make a sequel of that movie, because they already did what they could. Like I said at the beginning of this argument, the Halloween Town people and the Christmas people are the only two that are holidays developed enough to be able to carry a story or explore a world for a whole movie. If you try to make another world, you just said like the Thanksgiving one is going to be a lot of turkeys walking around. That's not what Thanksgiving is. It's people eating turkey. That's what it is. You're going to have some fucking
I think
Indians.
I'm guessing Tim Burton Thanksgiving world will probably have some anthropomorphic turkeys. I think there's a lot there to explore, and I'm interested. We're talking about
that is why they haven't been able to make it, because there's nothing to do there. They already show you the doors. You know what the doors are, but you cannot go into them to find anything.
But we're talking about it. It's there. It's like, what else is there? People think about it, and with your movie,
you can say what else is there in my world, where you can just keep going and expanding. That's the beauty of it. You already have a set world.
Okay, I'm going to go to Pluto in my world, because Pluto technically exists in my universe.
Is there a holiday called Pluto?
It doesn't matter.
What the holidays are. Yes, you are, because your world is limited by the 7 doors they show you.
My movie goes into the real world too, so I have the entire real world to explore too. If we're going to play that game, which is stupid and doesn't make sense, if we're going to limit,
there's only one town in that world. You did not watch that movie. It's one town that they can go to.
There's multiple towns they can go to. There's Christmas Town. We talked about.
No, one town in the real world. That's the only one that exists. You did not watch the movie. Okay.
They show like multiple. What are you talking about? They show multiple nationalities when they go to the real world. Quit trying to distract. Your world sucks. Mine's great.
No. Okay, I'm gonna expand here. Come on.
Please do.
All right. We're gonna start with Kirk closings. Kirk, you have 1 minute when you start talking.
Yeah, Nazario really didn't give us much about his world. He talked about how cool it looks and how you can go anywhere on the planet, I guess, if that's what you want to do, if that's the world that all movies take place in is Earth. But as far as the world strictly that his movie takes place in, it's not much. What do you go to? You're going to go to work, you're going to go to school, you're going to go grocery shopping, you're going to do paperwork and, work out, buy real estate. It's not funny. It's not exciting. It's anthropomorphic animals in the real world. We've seen it. It's DuckTales. It's Bugs Bunny. It's been done a million times. It's not that interesting. The story is great. And I love the characters, but it's what happens to those characters that take them away from their everyday life that is interesting. The everyday life in my world is cool. I'd like to go there and just see. He said there's 2 main worlds, Christmas, Halloween. Those to me are enough. I would love to see just those. Spend time there and get to see all those different creatures, different kinds of magic. Explore how their world really works. What is it like when your whole world revolves around this one holiday and this one idea? I want to see that. Plus, you do have those other worlds, other holidays. But I think in the Tim Burton universe would be very interesting to explore. I'd love to see it.
Okay. Let's go over to Nazario. You have 1 minute when you start talking.
The Nightmare Before Christmas is one of the most sellable merchandise properties that Disney has. And the reason they haven't been able to make a sequel is because they can't. It's a strong concept to start with if you don't think about it, but it's very inconsistent because there's not really anywhere you can go. Like, you already limit yourself. You put 7 doors. Those are the 7 worlds you can go in. There are no more fucking doors. So when you don't have to figure out how am I going to do a sequel about fucking getting drunk in St. Patrick's Day or Thanksgiving Day or the 4th of July. I don't know. The world that only has fucking fireworks. I don't know. The thing is that you are limited by that. And they already explored the only 2 worlds that you can actually support a story for 365 days because they can exist like that. And that's it. That's why they able to go back to it. Mine, it's the regular world through a beautiful ass whimsy filter made of handmade things that live there, and you can just see it through the eyes of wild animals trying to behave like humans. It's more interesting to go to places like snowy mountains or the underworld of the ocean to see how they can interact with such so
Time.
beautiful.
Okay. Gonna bring in the judges. Payson, did you pre-order that like $400 box set?
No, but if I had money, I would have.
Well, I'm gonna have no money because I pre-ordered it.
Let's fucking go, Tim Bracala. Let's go. Oh,
yeah, I have problems.
I wish I was married to a lawyer, man.
I mean, I also work.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I'm sorry.
You're good. No, you're good. That was funny. Okay, I'm good. Whatever you guys are.
Yeah.
Curious to see how this goes.
Okay. This was great. I loved this. I went with Kirk. Here's why. I think the line, and it was towards the end of the main round, but what really got me was Kirk said something that if we're looking ahead, if we were to do a sequel, I would want to see more from Fantastic Mr. Fox because of the characters and the story, not the world. And I would want to see more from Nightmare Before Christmas, not because of the characters, but the world. Thought that was really, really strong and painted a really good picture of the point Kirk was trying to make, which is that, yes, Fantastic Mr. Fox is a great movie, but it's not necessarily the world is kind of mundane. Nazario was going at it from a very interesting point of like, the world is interesting, but it's only interesting because of the characters that inhabit it, as Kirk was kind of making that point. I thought Nazario did a good job of being like the little details of everything that's there. If you were to expand beyond the world that we see in the movie, like would that resonate? I think probably yes, but I think Kirk just did a stronger job of being like, yeah, in a Tim Burton like fairy tale world, these different worlds that we know nothing of could be interesting. And so I went with Kirk. Robert, your thoughts?
Much like that creepy kid in Nightmare Before Christmas who gets the shrunken head as a gift, Nazario had me at the beginning. I felt like I was grabbed in such a way, not in a weird way, just that way. He grabbed me in such a way.
Nazario grabbed you. Got it.
Grabbed me in such a way at the beginning that I was like, I don't know what happens here, but he's got me hooked. And I've never seen Fantastic Mr. Fox. I don't need to hear about how I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. And then, like, as we got into the main crux, Kirk was taking these shots that was sort of tipping the balance, because I thought Nazario sort of killed it in his intro. It was tipping the balance. So there were things I needed to hear in Nazario's closing that unfortunately didn't come to pass. Have you ever seen that Simpsons episode where Homer finds the alien and they have Leonard Nimoy doing the intro?
Yeah.
And then he leaves and the teenage guy with the zits is like, reach for the skis. I mean, skies. Reach for the Kowalkowski.
Oh my God.
Or sky. Yeah, I just like, you hit it on the head, Tim. Like, I like the idea of taking out the characters with regards to the world and what is more interesting. And I think Nazario got a little bit hung up within the course of the debate and the closing, and I didn't get enough to understand how we bring it back to what can grab us about the world of Fantastic Mr. Fox. So I went with Kirk.
Payson, your vote doesn't count. Where would you have gone and why?
Yeah, on paper, I thought Kirk had the much more interesting pick. I think Nazario did a really good job at painting why the world of Fantastic Mr. Fox is interesting in the way it looks and the way how it like captures Americana. I love both these movies to pieces. And I think Nazario did a really great job at that. But I think Nazario kind of pigeonholed himself, where when he said, well, I'm counting the entire planet as my world. And then Kirk got to say, well, I get to count all the doors that we don't see in my world. And Nazario said, well, is there anything really interesting about Thanksgiving world? And then Kirk said, let's see from Tim Burton. And I think, so I also went with Kirk. And then, yeah, like Tim said, I think Kirk said the reason why Fantastic Mr. Fox is an interesting movie is because the characters are so interesting. And that is what makes that world come to life. While Night Before Christmas, it literally is the world when you see all the visuals. You are in the mind of Tim Burton. So I think Kirk did a really good job there.
Okay. All right. So here's the situation. Nazario needs to hit this next one in order to stay in the game. We are going to move over to that final question. It is 3-1 in favor of Kirk. The question was drafted by Kirk in the category of James Bond. Which pre-Daniel Craig James Bond film's story would be better if it took place in the modern era? We are going to start with Kirk on this one. This is going to be fun. 1 minute when you start talking.
I picked Moonraker because I think Moonraker is a story that you can really build upon. I think that you have a really cool premise that is just kind of destroyed in that like late 70s Star Wars ripoff kind of attitude that this has. It's kind of done on the cheap with just a mustache trolling villain. But I think now when you take the idea of like how we're talking about now about space exploration and, environmentalism, and are we going to have to go somewhere else? And I think if you take that now, there's ideas like that, and, just like the social and genetic engineering, that ideas are just kind of like touched on in the film, but really don't have any bearing in the motivation of the story or anything. They're just there. I think we build on that. I think we can make Drax a really interesting character and a really interesting villain. And I think that, we look at Denis Villeneuve has been announced as the next director of the next phase of James Bond movies. The last time he took a hokey sci-fi movie from this era, it worked out really well. So I think he pulled off again.
Okay. We're going to move over to Mr. Montenegro. You have 1 minute when you start talking.
I think the obvious call for this one is Tomorrow Never Dies. This is a movie where the villain uses media for geopolitical manipulation, and it kind of feels what is happening right now in the world. A reboot could incorporate things like AI-generated propaganda in social media and cyber attacks, because the story would allow Bond to confront a media mogul and that is using fake news as modern warfare. You could even give it a better backstory to Wei Lin, so it can actually explain why. So, because she comes from China, why it's so important that all these lies being trolled about the world are not true. It would resonate a lot more now because people already feel distrustive of media, especially what they can see. And there are a lot of people who just believe whatever they get on the internet. And that's it.
Okay, ending about 10 seconds early. We are going to bring in Kirk. Gentlemen, 5-minute freeform when one of you starts talking.
So your first pitch was ignore the whole movie and get these two things that barely had no input in the original plot of Moonraker, and that's going to make a good movie.
Well, the opposite of what you did was you just described exactly the same movie, but just changed the form of media.
It said it would work better and now at a modern setting.
Your movie would work different. It wouldn't work better. You're making lateral moves. You're making it. It might be more like appetizing to Gen Z to see TikTok instead of a newspaper. But you're pitching the same movie. That nothing really changes with the change of the media. Like I said, it's a lateral move. My movie, yes, I am making changes because changes need to be made. I'm taking that bare bones story of someone who wants to go to space and takes these. Drax just takes these like blank people to space, and these are the ones he's going to save. I'm interested in finding out who who are those people? I think especially now in like the political and cultural climate, who are those people? Why are those people being chosen? Why are other people not? I think in this day and age, I think that is a really cool idea to explore.
I actually think it's pretty clear on the story why they are chosen, because they are the master race.
But
He wants to make he wants to kill the whole world to have a perfect race of master people. And if you think that is going to fly, that is going to be the seeds of a reboot in 2025 for a better Bond movie, you're insane. You're just saying like, okay, let's take the fact that they go to space and that's going to be the basis for my movie. That's not a reboot. That's just doing another movie.
We didn't say we rebooting. We said what would be better, what story would be better. Nobody's talking about a reboot. What are you talking about?
But you're changing the story. So
I am.
What
story would be better? I'm taking the bare bones story.
You have to take one of the movies from Bond and try to fit it into the modern world. You're saying like, I'm gonna get two things out of this movie and make it the new movie.
I'm not changing the story. I'm changing the villain's like I'm expanding on his motivation. I'm expanding on his plot. I'm making it better and deeper. That's all. That's what I'm doing. So we're just.
By the way, you're saying mine is a lateral move. I do believe it's an upgrade move because it didn't really work for what they were trying to sell in 1997, where it was gonna be like, I'm gonna have the best TV channel in the world. I do think that story as itself adapts a lot more to a media mogul that controls social networks, because yes, you can introduce facts about how AI make it so much easy to manipulate people, and he can actually get behind to control the power of politics in the world to make him more money. Those things are more realistic to be done today in today's environment with the tools that exist today than what they were being able to do.
I think it's more interesting to have a villain who uses what is now we consider older technology, newspapers and cable TV, because those things are harder to use. You have to be more in depth. You have to be playing Puppet Master. With yours, it's easy. Like, yeah, I just made a deep fake and now it's out there and everybody believes it. This guy is like really playing chess with his newspaper, putting certain things in the newspaper, putting things on TV, getting ideas out there, just dropping things. And I think it's a lot. The fact that is like a harder thing to do and a more difficult to do makes it more devious and more sinister and scary, and makes it a worse villain. You're basically making Gupta the sidekick in your movie, the villain, which isn't a good James Bond movie. A good James Bond villain.
Your movie is a guy who wants to take space pills that will make a virus that will kill everybody in the world, take the perfect race into space, into a space station, kill the world, and come back when the world is more inhabitable again. It's a cartoon villain. And how would that work better in a modern setting? Especially when you're trying to sell you're trying to sell the idea of a master race to a modern audience. Also, you have characters like Jaws, who may be cool for its time, but I don't know how you explain in a modern realistic world a guy with metal teeth.
You update Jaws to make him more. He's a joke. That's a good point. Jaws is a joke in this movie. I would make him a more realistic villain, like he is in the movie he was in previously, where he's more of a sinister threat than he is.
1 minute. Sorry, my apologies.
A more sinister threat than the joke he is in this movie. So, and yeah, my movie is about a guy. How do I make this better? I give him a realistic, relevant motivation. Like I said, we're talking about space exploration, that we're burning the planet. Maybe he thinks he's an environmentalist and he thinks he's a good guy. He's going to save the people who he thinks deserves to get saved. Maybe there's people who are on his side, like maybe like the mass.
So what you're saying is you're going to pick and choose whatever you think it works from Moonraker and change the story, because that would be making a whole new movie.
I'm changing the plot.
Because that was not his motivation. That was not his motivation in Moonraker. Yeah. Definitely was not.
The villain's motivation is not the story.
If you're pitching a new Bond movie, that is a completely different question. You can expand on things. You don't have to replace them. Like I said, Wei Lin is Chinese. Like I said, Wei Lin is Chinese in my movie. You can expand more on her backstory, on how she was raised by the Chinese government, and why it is more important to her to be able to defend this thing that is confusing the world.
Okay. We are going to go to Nazario first for closings. Sir, you have 1 minute when you start talking.
I do believe that the movie was ahead of its time in 1997, but it didn't really work because, like Kirk says, it was very difficult to be able to manipulate people that way in that era. It was very fantastical. The thing is that now it's very realistic. It's actually easy to fool people, so easy now with all these new ideas and stuff. You can pretend like, hey, China attacked us and then we attacked them back. You can convince people of that by doing this with an AI program and some fake images. It's scary how fucking realistic it is. And you can give Wei Lin a lot of more stories so she can become part of the main story more than she was just the Chinese girl riding on the bike. His movie is goofy. His movie has no sense. It's a cartoon of a story. And it doesn't matter how much you try to update it. The way he's trying to avoid having to actually adapt Moonraker, it's insane. He's just saying, like, I will take this little thing and I will take this thing. I will change the whole motivation of the main villain and it will be better. Of course, because you're making a new movie. That movie was about a guy who was a fucking racist who wanted to have a master race and destroy the people in the world with a guy with metal for teeth. It was a bad movie.
All right, let's go over to Kirk. Kirk, you have 1 minute when you start talking.
Yes, my movie is a bad movie. That's why I make it better. You picked a pretty good movie and aren't changing much about it. Yeah, like you said, this movie was different for ahead of its time in 1987. Now it's just white noise. You're basically pitching the entity from Mission Impossible. Like every other movie is about AI and all these things it can do for us. So it's not going to be that special or different. My movie, he's trying to accuse me of not being clear. I'm being very clear on the changes I'm going to make. I'm going to take Drax and I'm going to change his motivations to expand on his motivation. He has no motivation in the movie other than to be a bad guy. He's not a racist. He's not talking about being racist. He's just a bad guy who wants to kill people for the sake of killing people. He's going to take these people and we're going to explore who is he taking and why. What is his motivation? Does he think he's doing the right thing? Is he picking the people he think will be most helpful to the Earth, to his new idea of Earth? Who is he going to genetically engineer and change to make that happen? That doesn't change the movie. Doesn't change the general plot. It just makes the story better, because you have a more focused villain and more focused plot. And I think that just improving the story where he's just making the same changing media and that's it.
Okay. My goodness.
This.
You know what? Fuck it. Let's bring in Nazario's manager, Mike.
These bills are kind of expensive.
No, they're not.
What am I doing? Is Mike watching a movie or something?
Mike, are you watching a movie?
Yes, I am. It's like, how am I doing? You know?
Looks like I'm going to go pause my movie for this. It's not worth it.
That was funny. Oh, man. All right. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay. I believe we are on to Robert at this point.
I think we're
no, we're on to Payson. Payson, yes.
Yeah, really, really good fight. I think probably one of the better matches I think we've had tonight, even though tonight's been a really great night. I think there were a lot of great points brought up. I do love that Kirk just sort of kind of dropped an attempted Hail Mary at the end of well, the question is which story would be better, and I picked the worst one, so yeah, mine would be better. But looking at the arguments, I ultimately went with Nazario. I think Nazario did a great job of showing how Tomorrow Never Dies at the time in '97 felt ahead of its time, and now if it came out today, it would feel even more timely. And I think Nazario just did a great job of showing how those timely aspects would help elevate that story more. He said, I liked how he said you could get really into the weeds of Michelle Yeoh's character, and I just thought he had some really nice takedowns of what Kirk was doing with Moonraker, just saying, well, you're really just taking core ideas, and while Kirk might have said yes, objectively it's probably going to be better than Moonraker, because from what I've heard, Moonraker is a sack of shit. I think Nazario did a really great job painting that his movie would be better than even Tomorrow Never Dies. So Nazario gets my point.
Okay. This was pretty close for me. Like many of the fights tonight, I feel like this was another example of they were arguing the same question, but tackling it in different ways. Nazario was very much, I'm going to take my movie, and if I just replace this one aspect of it, it's going to work. So the story just works so much better today. And I actually agree with him. I think the way that Kirk took it, which I think also works, is I'm taking the bare bones of the story and I'm shaking things up like you would do in a remake, where you change things to make it better that fit in a modern era. He brought up Dune, and how Denis Villeneuve is directing the next Bond movie. I thought that was a really good point. So I think they both hit it from different angles and did a good job explaining why they would work based off of the way that they were talking about. So for me, it kind of came down to the takedowns, the defense, and I felt like Nazario actually hit this one for me. Specifically talking about just like the core, even the core aspects of, let me start over. I agree with Payson, Kirk's Hail Mary of like, it's the worst one, so it can only go up. Yeah. But I think Nazario did a good job of saying like, even the core aspects are pretty unsalvageable. And the fact that he's just a cartoon villain who I don't know about I haven't seen the movie in a long time. I don't remember Drax being just like racist and that was why he was doing what he was doing. I don't remember that. But if that's the case in the argument, that's what he said. And I feel like he did a good job kind of explaining like why even with those bare bones, it's just not something that would be interesting or would really work today. Whereas he kind of convinced me why this would, Tomorrow Never Dies Today, would be a pretty successful movie and story specifically.
Mike, this is my first 2-pointer in a finals of debate, so I already feel like I'm winning.
Now I don't have to fly to Panama and cut your dick off.
Oh, okay. All right. Bye. Let's go to Robert.
I forgot to mention in the last debate, I didn't get to say it. If Arbor Day was in Nightmare Before Christmas and the worlds are on trees, would Arbor Day, would they be on like people or characters? I don't know. I had this question. I forgot to mention it before. I thought it was big up. And yeah, Tim, it's basically like Moonraker's like Nazi sensibilities in the 70s. Like how could we expand? Like Nazis still existed.
Sure.
What would they do if in a futuristic type situation? They would probably try to build a master race on another planet.
Yeah.
Either here nor there. When the question was proposed, Moonraker was the first thing I thought of because of its quality and because of its scientific nature of being in space. And then Nazario gave his answer, and I was like, damn, that's really fucking good. That makes a lot of sense with regards to where we are now, who our enemies are, who we think our enemies are, and who is kind of lurking in the shadows. So I thought like Kirk grabbed me at the beginning. This is kind of the opposite of the last debate. Kirk grabbed me in the beginning really hard, and then Nazario was tipping the scales. And I think there were things I was looking for Kirk to say to bring it back home. And I just think like when he got to the point where he was like, yeah, like we're not doing like Drax doesn't have any motivations or like, no, we're just going to expand on his motivations. I was like, it's kind of like his motivations suck. And we're just kind of taking like the futuristic aspect of Moonraker, and that's kind of the only thing. So there was a very famous Pirates baseball player. Kirk knows this. He won the World Series against the Yankees in 1960 with a walk-off home run. My father was actually in the stadium when that happened. Pretty cool. His name was Bill Mazeroski. I went with Bill Nazaroski for Nazario because I just feel like Nazario was able to hit this from a perspective that made sense with regards to pulling in what we like about the story of Tomorrow Never Dies. And Kirk was taking a bare bones thing, which can be done in a remake, but I thought the idea of what Nazario was saying was more interesting with regards to a modern take. So I went with Nazario.
Okay. So Kirk is up 3-2 with that. So that means we're going to the bonus round. So what needs to happen? Well, Kirk needs to hit one of these. Nazario needs to hit both of them in order to win the match. So we
I'm going to take a bathroom break before we go to.
Yeah, no, we're good. Let's go ahead and do that. We'll be right back.
Oh, we get to pee?
I never got to go to speed round. I'm excited.
Really?
Yeah, no, haven't done it yet.
That's shocking. I guess I'm going to pee, Robert. I'll be.
Nah, I'm here for the whole thing. I don't need a pee break.
All right, so here's how the speed round is going to work. I randomized general movies and fandom to decide which category was coming first. Then I randomized the remaining categories that weren't used in the main round to come up with the question for the speed round. So I'm going to say the question, then I'm going to repeat the question a second time. Once I've repeated it for the second time, you guys will be able to pick your answer. Whoever says their answer first will be going first. You each get 45 seconds, followed by 30 seconds. Any questions?
No, sir.
Nope.
Okay. The side of Fanzone that was drafted first, that was randomized first, was Mayzone General Movies. The category was Oscars.
All right.
I like those.
And I'm putting the question in the private chat. The question is, what is the best picture winner of the 1990s? So again, what is the best picture winner of the 1990s? Surprise, Callie.
I'll go Schindler's List.
I'm gonna go Titanic.
Okay. Oh my God, that makes me so happy. All right. Kirk, you're going first with Schindler's List. What is the best picture winner of the 90s? Kirk, 45 seconds on the clock when you start talking.
I think top to bottom, Schindler's List is maybe the best movie of the 90s, let alone best picture winner. You have the amazing performances by lead characters, Liam Neeson, Ben Kingsley et al. You have that classic John Williams score, one of his most underrated scores, which just captures the feel of that movie so well. That beautiful black and white cinematography, the period costume design and set design that just really captures that bleak, disgusting world you live in. Ray Fiennes, I forgot to mention his performance. And you have this amazing script, and it just tells this story, this real life story that brings it to life, and really sucks you in and makes you feel everything you're supposed to feel about this. It's a hard to get through. It's a hard story, but beyond that, it's just a beautiful, beautiful movie in all aspects.
Nazario, 45 seconds on the clock.
Titanic is also a great adaptation of a real story that happened, and it's actually has a bigger fan base because it does something that is very difficult to get. It balances the artistry of the film and the storytelling with the appeal to the mass audiences. It does something very specific at the beginning where they show you like kind of a CGI representation of how the boat broke. They write that into the story, which makes it feel more natural, but it also feels like a guide for the audience to know what to expect on the rest of the movie. They have great performances too, and they expand a lot on the original romantic base of it. But like I said, the beauty about Titanic is that it's not only visually appealing, musically amazing, it's also reached a lot of people, which cannot be said by Schindler's List, because Schindler's List is so focused on one thing that it limits the impact that it has on most people that won't rewatch it.
All right, Kirk, 30 seconds.
Not talking biggest fan base, not talking most watchable. We're talking about the best picture winner. I think Schindler's List by a lot. I think there are some the CGI hasn't aged great. There are some good performances, but I think Leo is still like in his teen beat phase. He's definitely not the Leo we knew now, and his performance is kind of weak. Same with Billy Zane and some of the more supporting characters. I do where the emotion in Schindler's List is real and some based on something I think they manufacture a lot of with Titanic, with that music, with the score. So there are some weaknesses, there are some cracks. It's not as popular, but it is the best movie.
Okay,
but that's what I'm. Oh, sorry. That's what I'm saying. Like the music is part of the movie. You're talking about the whole experience. You have a great direction, great music, memorable songs that appeal with it, great performances in it. Not by every single character, but some of the best performances nominated for a lot of Oscars that year, and it won a bunch of prizes. And like I said, one of the things that make it a best movie is also the fact that it's appealed to a broader audience. And this one hit the best. It got all the awards. It got all the money. It just hit every single quarter at the same time, which is impossible to do.
Time. Jesus, guys. Okay.
Yikes. Damn.
You know that scene in the Avengers where Tony is trying to get Bruce to go Hulk by pestering him, and Bruce is like, "Not gonna get me." I think we just saw that. Ooh. This is tough.
Robert, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Jason?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, we're going to start with Robert.
I think this should be documented and put in the Library of Congress or whatever you guys would call that record to show people how to speed round. Because I think this was a masterclass. Applaud to both of you. I think you guys hit this in the way that you're supposed to hit it with regards to your picks. I thought Silence of the Lambs was going to come up. I thought that was a number. Like I thought we were just hitting that. Like that was it. But you guys didn't do that. I think when you look at the totality of what it is that they argued, they both talked about a lot of things. But I went with Men at Kirk. I went with Kirk because I just thought the breadth of what it is he talked about with regards to the visuals, the cinematography, the performances, the costuming, how it sucks you into the world of Schindler's List, just showed a little bit more. And he brought down the arguments of what Nazario was talking about with mass appeal. And thus, I went with Kirk because of how expansive he talked about within the time period he was given.
Okay, Jason.
Yeah, I am right there with Robert. I think this was a really, really good speed round. There were a few choices I thought were going to be brought up. Titanic was not one of them. Even though I think it is a very good movie, and Nazario did a really good job at arguing the good aspects of that. Just Kirk did a great job arguing the good aspects of Schindler's List. I think the difference is Kirk got some knocks in on Titanic of saying, I don't think this Asian guy holds up that well. Young Leo isn't giving that great a performance. And the only real knock against Schindler's List I heard from Nazario was it doesn't reach the same audience that Titanic does. So with that, congrats, Kirk. You get my point.
Okay. I also went with Kirk. And Payson actually kind of stole the words right out of my mouth. I agree with pretty much everything Payson and Robert too. But Payson, like word for word, like had the hits. The young Leo, the Billy Zane not doing that much. I liked Nazario's point of like, yeah, the music is part of it. Like this stuff is that you're knocking is part of it. But I agree with Payson where Nazario's only real knock against Schindler's List was it doesn't reach as hard of an audience and it's not as rewatchable, which is true. But I think that Kirk's knockdown, they both were able to tell me why these are both two amazing movies. I know Kirk doesn't like Titanic, but I love both. They're both 5 out of 5 movies for me. But I think Kirk did hit on the points of the weakest part of Titanic. Nazario really couldn't give me anything in the movie other than that it's not rewatchable. So for that, I give the point to Kirk, which means your winner and still Fanzone debate champion is Kirk Kowalkowski. We're going to move into post-match interviews. We're going to start by talking to Mr. Nazario. Mike.
You didn't pick Spielberg. You deserve to get kicked in the fucking dick. Fuck you. No mercy.
Yeah. If Saving Private Ryan would have won, I would have maybe tried that, but you know.
You weren't feeling Dances with Wolves tonight.
Fuck no. I actually picked Unforgiven, but I couldn't remember enough specific things to argue for it. But I actually do stand by my pick. I know that depending on the circles, you can make an argument for at least 4 of these movies.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I do feel that Titanic achieved something very special when it was appreciated equally by basically every little corner of people that actually want to pay attention to movies, like audiences, award shows, like everything was like it was like a perfect mix of a thing, and no movie ages perfectly, but I do think that for the capsule of the 90s, that's pretty much unbeatable. But
It also achieved you getting your ass kicked.
I'm not even angry because Schindler's List is a great fucking movie. So.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And like I said before, this is my first time scoring 2 points in the finals. Maybe next time I'll do 3. Who the fuck knows?
Mike, was there anything you wanted to add to that?
See, I called him a pussy. You don't deserve to be Cobra Kai. Take that shit off. Fuck you.
Oh.
We haven't even played Cobra Kai matches yet. God damn it.
All right, Nazario, this was a great run from you, and a great performance here today too. I think this was better than your last match against Kirk. You came guns a-blazing, as they say. I hope you never stop doing this, because frankly, like, you're so much fun to have here on any show, frankly, but specifically here, because we really get to see your movie tastes and opinions fly, and I love watching it. So, congrats on a match well played. We will see you later, but for now, thanks, Nazario, and thank you, Mike, despite your graphic language. So let's bring in the winner and still the champ, Kirk Kowalkowski. Kirk, I don't remember exactly how every match goes, but speed round, were you getting nervous that, like, oh no, Nazario might be able to take this in two speed rounds, or
always?
like,
Yeah, I'm never like I'm always playing for the to avoid speed round, because it's always bad, but especially with Nazario, because he is so good at coming up and hitting those like just couple of points. And even in this one, like I felt very confident in my debate, but then we came back and I saw you guys really mulling it over. I'm like, oh, and then that's what I think that's Nazario's biggest strength, is making you doubt your own arguments, no matter how confident you are in them. And it was and then that I was like, because I felt like I said a lot of things there, and I think I did enough, but did he just pull it out there? So yeah, to answer your question, yeah, that speed round was incredibly nerve-wracking.
Kirk, were there any other moments in tonight's match that really stood out to you as, like, I don't know, like just horrifying moments for you? Like, oh shit! Like,
yes, I can tell you. I could absolutely tell you one lesson from the champ, kids. Read the questions carefully. I didn't realize that the James Bond question was specifically about the story until you said it out loud. So I have about 4 pages of notes here on Moonraker and Tomorrow Never Dies that I couldn't use. And I kind of had to go on the fly. So I think I did okay for completely making up the argument as we went along. But so yeah, that scared me. And yeah, I think, like I said, the big, like you said, like, I'm always nervous when you have, whenever the most confident I am in an answer is what I'm most nervous about, because it's like I think everybody does, you get too confident and you don't argue as hard. And I was really worried about that with Michael Corleone. Because I felt like it was just such a slam dunk answer, and I knew Nazario would come with some stuff, and he fought it hard, and he did make some good points, and it was hard for me not to just lean back on, oh, it's Michael Corleone, shut up, and really continue to buy it. So I'm kind of proud of myself for doing enough there to not let him, take a trap point there.
Yeah, Kirk, I do actually know this is odd and out of the norm. I know who your next opponent is.
Okay.
And it's happening sooner than you'd think. Because this is the end of, well, it's not the end of Summer Nights, but it's the end of debate for Summer Nights. We're taking a break. Virtual Survivor Season 2, starting next week. Very excited about that. Is airing. But when Virtual Survivor Season 2 ends and Fanzone Debate comes back, we're kicking off the last part of the season with a title match, and it's Amaru Moses cashing in from the Last Word event. You've already played Rue once this season. Your first match of the season was against Rue. You won that 4-2. But I feel like I know Rue pretty well at this point, at least when it comes to debate and trivia, and he wants to win. So are you nervous about that, or is that just like, I've done it before, I'll do it again?
Absolutely not. Rue's always a great opponent, and I'll be completely honest. I knew he had a title shot coming up from the Last Word, and my goal was to hold the title long enough to play him again. I took this match very seriously tonight because I wanted to make sure I was still holding the title, because I don't play Rue, because I know how much he wants to play me again, and I want to give him that match. And I think me and Rue is one of the best like rivalries in in the debate league, just because how we're close friends, but we both bring like we root for each other, but we play each other, we want to destroy each other. So I think that's we both bring our A game, and it's always fantastic. So yeah, I definitely am looking forward to playing Rue again.
Awesome. Well, Kirk, congrats on the win and defending the belt. We will see you in that match after Virtual Survivor Season 2 wraps up. So that's going to do it for us at this match. Let's get final thoughts, starting first with Mr. Robert Kastner.
I mean, Kirk is the GOAT. I think you said he was one. I think he's just the greatest at this point. I think we could kind of cash that in. And but you gotta always, Nazario's a wily veteran, I guess is how you would describe him. And he did all he could. He seemed very prepared, but give Kirk a bunch of time and give him 3 picked categories, and he's gonna dominate. And he pretty much did for a lot of this with regards to votes. So give him credit.
Yeah. Payson, final thoughts from you?
Yeah, I think this was a really, really fun match. It is the most tense I think I've ever been judging the few amount of debates you've had me judge. Thought great arguments from everyone. I will say maybe the highlight of my night is few people I think are better at eloquently saying why they went with their argument than Robert. And he always gives us a nice pun at the end, so it's always a joy to view that. But yeah, I think both Kirk and Nazario did amazing, and I would also say I think at this point, Kirk has I think cemented himself as the Fanzone GOAT, as in my opinion.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for us here at this match of Summer Nights. But here is what's coming up next. Well, actually, if you're just tuning in, rewind, watch this. It was fucking great. But before that, we had the Omega tournament finals. Really, I'm not joking. Like, I say really good match every time. Genuinely mean it this time. Bridget Colwell, Maria Hammond. It's an incredible fucking match. It goes down to the wire. It's awesome. Go check it out. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch it. One of them retires at the end because that was the whole thing. And then coming up next, we have the Fandom Fights singles title match. The aforementioned Amaru Moses trying to take the belt from Tyler Birch. So very exciting. And then at the end, sweet mercy, mother of God. Okay, let me see. Robert, you got to help me out here. We got Duel of Fates. They're the champs. They're fighting you guys, Rule 2,
yes.
Posse Galore, and Wrong Side of the River.
Indeed.
All in one match. So 4-way teams title match. I'm scared. We haven't shot it yet. We'll see you for that, but keep watching. In between each match, you're meeting the cast of Virtual Survivor Season 2. Lots of fun stuff from them, getting to meet those people and seeing the surprising faces of some of the people that were cast in the season. So keep watching. Thank you for watching this match, and we'll see you very soon with more Fanzone debate. Until then, have a good one.
There we go. Thanks a lot. Come again.
Hey, I won't forget what you've done for me here today.
I would prefer that you do.